Here we're going to talk about methods and classes. Okay, methods are pieces of code that can be repeatedly called. They're easier to recycle, especially if the piece of code is larger. They're called functions in other languages. Um, it's also similar to functions in mathematics. If you have to state its access and return type as well. If it doesn't return anything, it's a void method. So here we have a method called a static. Is a static method. Um, and it returns an integer and it adds two values which are two integers called a and b, and it basically returns a plus b. And then here we have the in the main class, in the main method, we're printing the addition of 3 and 5, so it prints out 8. So yeah.
Mhm. And yeah, we can.
uh,
Do you wanna like show some like example code, like VS Code?
yeah. um we already have an addition class, but I'll get to that later. We can just make a new one, or we should put it down. And then we're gonna add in a b, and then and then we can just return a plus b. So in here we can say add a oh no, we can this up a adding a. So here in VS Code, it shows you that these are the two arguments. As A, you're passing in 3, as B, you're passing in
Hmm.
4. So returning A plus B. And then that should be 7.
Yeah.
Okay, these are methods. Now we're looking at objects and classes. Classes are groups of objects that share similar properties and behaviors. Objects are just instances or more specific subclassifications of classes. An example of a class could be the type student. An object would be Alex or Ashwin. So yeah, an object is just an instance of the class student. So here we have a class student with several variables, and then instance variables, as actually these are called. And then here we have multiple methods. And if you here we're instantiating a student Ashwin. Uh, Actually, by convention, this student actually should be uppercase. Class names in general should be uppercase, so there should be a uppercase S. But anyways, that should be student Ashwin. And here because we're using a new keyword, it's gonna construct a new object called Ashwin. It's gonna construct a new student object with Ashwin and these other data variables associated with it. And then we're gonna print out Ashwin.get name.
Hmm. Any questions so far? Yeah. Well, yeah, you can do the same thing, just like demonstrate.
Um, let's see. Yeah, let's not recreate. Yeah, fine. Yeah, I think we have to make a new one. Oh, we have a student class. Let's use that. Uh, so we're gonna make a new student. This we're gonna make a new student S equals new student. Actually, let's modify the student plus. This is for later actually, but we can. So here we can say we can add an instance variable int a. You can add an age, and then we can construct. So now gonna add a constructor. So let's get rid of this. And then we're gonna add a constructor. So basically a constructor is where the object is instantiated. We're gonna add public, and then we're gonna say, we're gonna have them pass in an integer age. Let's call it a for simplicity. You can still add age, and I'll show you how. We're gonna say age is equal to a, and then we can add a get age method.
Hmm.
So when we're basically going to return um, the age here.
Yeah. And remember the method that's just like public student, that's the same name as the class, is just called the constructor. Basically, yeah, setting like the fields to like whatever value you want in this case.
You can still write age here,
Hmm.
and you can say, and now I'll show you
Age.
this keyword,
Yeah.
this dot h. So you can just say this, and that's going to basically bring you to all the methods that and the methods and instance variables in this class. You can access them without, you can either do this or you can do this. So it's just a matter of preference. Uh, doesn't matter. So anyways, let's go back. And now that we know we need an argument called age. Let's say um 17, and then we can just sys out that's not your age.
Hmm.
And here we should get 17. Oh wait, let me go back. Age. Oh, I said it. Okay, I did the opposite. So let's go and
Yeah.
then let's run it.
Hmm.
Okay,
And
17.
yeah. Yeah, and just for like clarification, if we haven't mentioned it before, we're basically there's a very fundamental difference between like what you see like the add method with return, or like the get age method in this case, where it just like returns an age. The return keyword is very important in Java. It basically tells you, one, to like exit out of this method, and two, to like return or like give back a value. And it's like very different from like the print, or the print methods, which don't necessarily just give back a value. They just print it out so you can see it.
Yeah, I think that's it for this.
Mm. Yeah. Any questions? Ashwin, do you want to say anything about this?
Okay.
Okay.
Uh,
Yeah. Here's just another. Oh, here's just another example.
There's just another class. Oh, here we have the explanations. I mean the namings. So here these are called instance variables. You generally want to keep these private. I know I
Hmm.
didn't, but you generally want to keep them private unless you know that it needs to be public. And then uh, here we have a constructor. So it's this public person string in a name. It has multiple variables, and then they're not necessarily implementation of the application. And then here we have a public void print. also not showing an implementation. The void means that there's nothing being returned
Hmm.
from this.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is a method. This is a
Hmm.
constructor. For constructors, you just say public and then the class name, and you should
Yeah.
get it.
Yeah. And we'll explain that. Yeah. In the next slide, we'll explain the difference between public and private.
Okay. Public is basically means it's visible. So if it's a class, it's visible to the class. So if it's a class, it's visible to other classes outside of the class which is situated in. And I know that
Hmm.
seems pretty convoluted, but you'll understand what that means later. And then also private basic. Oh, sorry, no, I mixed it up. Public means the class is visible to any other class wherever it is, and then private basically means it can only be accessed inside of its respective class.
Hmm.
Um, okay. Inheritance. Inheritance basically means the subclass draws or inherits from a superclass. It adds modifications like extra members or methods. And then super keyword. Oh, now we're going to talk about the super keyword. The super keyword can be used to reference the parent class constructor in a subclass. So, and then the child class inherits all public methods and instance variables from the parent, but not the constructor. So here we can see that we have a public class, Egan student, extend student. The student class is not shown. So here, the, the super keyword in this case basically means we're instantiating the superclass. So we're
Yeah.
instantiating the student class with these variables from this.
Yeah.
And then this,
The super basically means you're using one of the superclass methods. Like in this case, what Rithwik was just talking about, the super is just instantiating the superclass's constructor. So yeah,
yeah,
basically to
that's pretty much
yeah,
the super.
yeah, to set the instance variables to whatever they want to. Hmm.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, super has to be the first word in the subclass constructor. So here we have this class named teacher, which has all the instance variables. It has a constructor with these um, variables in it, and it's assigning all the things, and that's all fine. Now we're creating a student class which extends teacher. So the student will be a subclass of teacher, and then now you have a constructor, which is and in this constructor of the student class, we're going to instantiate the teacher class. And how we're going to do that is basically we're going to say super. So super is referencing the parent class, and because we're basically think of this as a replacement of teacher. So now we're constructing the superclass. So these are just the same rules. This is the ID, this is the name, this is the address, and so on. So you can just access these things from the superclass at a later time in your class, in your subclass. Okay. Uh, Here we have some inheritance practice. So just read this and see if you know what's going on.
Hmm.
It is kind of a trick question. I feel like.
Yeah. Okay. Any answers? Any guesses?
A, B, C, D, or E.
Mm, just anyone, just like Janae. Okay, invite to speak.
The E.
You say
Wait, what did you say?
say B or E?
E. E as a marker.
E. Okay.
Okay. Janae thinks it's E. Um, does anyone else have anything to say? Why don't all of us choose an option?
Yeah. Like
It doesn't
everyone,
matter,
or
okay?
like yeah, like type
So,
it in the chat. Because it's like yeah, just type it in the chat. What you think the answer is?
oh, in general, oh, he thinks it's B. Or Riz thinks it's B.
Okay.
Oh, Janae wants to change to C. Shri thinks it's B.
Okay.
Does Quotab have an opinion?
I don't think so. Well,
Okay,
Resnick, yeah.
I'll just run and so you can see in real time what happens. Let's go here.
Yeah.
So I've already made this. Let's uncomment. Let's comment all of this. So yeah, let's go here. Let's delete this. And then student s equals new student. And then what was the next line? System dot object. Okay, now let's see what happens. So it's eating. So it was option D. What?
Yeah. And does anyone want to guess why? Type it in the chat, like your guess why.
Oh, Janae wants to. So he's gonna ask how. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, it's D.
Yeah.
Also talk about what happens. Okay. Okay, let's go back to the
Yeah.
coding
Let's
thing.
go. But yeah, go back to the page.
So it says so we're looking at s.get info. Um actually let's
Go back to the slides.
it's in one place. Okay, here we're saying student s equals new grad student. So we're instantiating a new grad student object, and and then we're saying that it's a student s. Uh, let's go back here. Okay, and then we're instantiating a student. Actually, we're instantiating a grad student object with the type of student, and then we're printing out s.getInfo. So we're just gonna go to the grad student because we instantiated a grad student object. Let's go to s.getInfo. Here we have the method getInfo, which is going to return a string, which is what we want, and it says here super.getInfo. So if we go back to super.getInfo, it's saying return. It's gonna return study. So we come back here, and it's super.getInfo return study, but that's not really relevant. It doesn't do anything because there's nothing. It doesn't assign anything or return in the subclass get info, so it's completely irrelevant. So we're just gonna return eating, so that's D.
Yeah. Yeah, but like by itself, the super dot get info really does nothing in the
Yeah.
context of the method.
Okay. Um.
And
Oh wait,
like
no. I
yeah, and like you can't really in Java, you can't really return two things.
okay. Ashwin said something about what if you call get food. Okay, let's go back. Um, he wants to call get food and see
Yeah.
what happens. Okay, it says it's taco. Actually, let's go back. I shouldn't have done that. Um, okay, what here? Ashwin wanted to see what would happen if we called s dot get food. Now, it's a very interesting question because uh, should we go to this parent class or should we go to the subclass? However, because we said we instantiated a new grad student instead of a student, we're gonna go to the grad student subclass,
Hmm.
and it says the food here is gonna be taco, so that's what we're gonna return. Instead, we're not gonna return pizza because that's not referenced in this method. Okay, yes. Polymorphism. Polymorphism is many shaped, many classes related to each other by inheritance. So basically, it's just um many the relation of many classes
Hmm.
with inheritance. And then polymorphism has these two concepts which are called overloading and overriding. Overloading basically means the two methods share the same name and function, but they have they have different parameters. And then overriding basically means the subclass provides a different implementation of an existing superclass method. And we'll see what that means or in the slide actually. Um, so we have a main class, and here we're instantiating an animal and a dog, and we're having these. Let's come back to this later. So we have a superclass, public class animal, and then we're returning nothing here. We're just saying public void make a noise, and system dot under println animal noise. That's fine. And then okay, and then we have a dog class which extends animal. Uh, Here we're this this make a noise method is basically overriding this make a noise method
Hmm.
because it has a different method. It has different contents in its method body.
Yeah. Yeah, they share the same name, but I get the subclass is essentially just overtaking or overriding like the content or like the actions inside of the make noise method.
Here we have an overloaded method, which basically means we're we are the same name, but we're changing the number of parameters or the types of the parameters. Or basically, any change in the parameters is gonna mean we overloaded the method. So we had an integer num times um to the uh to the parameter list, and here we're just doing a for loop, and we're gonna print wolf as many times as num times as. So yeah, here we can see as we say animal dot make a noise, we're gonna get animal noise because this is calling this. Then we do dog dot make a noise, and then that's just gonna say wolf because that's this. And then we're gonna do dog dot make a noise with five included as a parameter. So we're gonna say wolf with an exclamation mark 5 times. Is this
Any questions?
tree has to go? Okay. Uh, Okay, overloading polymorphism is basically the same thing, but it's more nuanced. We have an addition class,
Hmm.
and we're overloading. all these methods. So all of them have the same name. You can see addition, 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 same in public static int. All of that's the same, except that we're changing the parameters. So here we have two parameters, x and y. And then here we have three parameters, x, y, z. And then here we have x and y. That's a double. So this is also a change. It's different from this because we have two doubles. And then here we're gonna add x and y. Here we're adding x, y, and z, x and y. And yeah, I can demonstrate this in VS
Yeah.
Code as well.
Remember the overloading, it's just different parameters overriding. The contents are different.
Okay, let's sort of this. We're gonna sys out addition dot. So here we can see in VS Code it's giving me three options. I made the class here. It has three methods, and then VS Code is also. And other editors will do this too. It's gonna show this. Yeah, let's do the two doubles. One 2.3, 1.4. I don't know. And then we can print. So it's 3.699 repeating. This is also a common thing in many programming languages where due to the nature of floating points, it's gonna give you an answer which is kind of odd when this should have been 3.7. It's not. So yeah, you can read more about that if you want. You can do another one. Well, we can do three, then we can run, and we get eight as we expect. Okay, let's go back to the slides. The try catch statements. A try statement defines block of code that is tested for errors during execution, and it defines block of code that is executed if an error occurs in the try block. So here basically we have an integer array called nums, and we declare and we assign 1, 2, and 3 to the respective value data slots. And we set system.out.println nums3, but obviously nums3 doesn't exist because this is index 0, index 1, index 2, and we don't have an index 3. So yeah, that just doesn't work. So we're gonna go down here and we're gonna catch that exception E. And we're gonna say system.out.println something went wrong. If there is no error, the program will continue as normal. But however, we do have an error. So yeah, it's just gonna say something like wrong. If you don't do this, it's just gonna crash. So yeah. Here we have comments. We already did the single line comment. Um, it's just two slashes, and then here we have for a multi-line comment, you can just do slash star, and then the other slash star and the other slash, the backwards one. I don't know what to call it. And then none of the green text is touched by the compiler. The output isn't affected by it. So nothing of this is read by the compiler. It's irrelevant. And then here we have documentation using Java docs. Uh, so basically, this is how documentation is done in Java. You describe what your method is going to do in this line, in the first line. Then you indicate the two parameters. So here we have a method called find roadrunner, which returns a string. So here we will return the coordinates of the roadrunner in your area. So the string will be coordinates, as you can glean from that. And then the city and state are the parameters, and it's going to describe what that does, which is not relevant to us. And it also throws an IO exception. You can do this to methods. If you think there might be an error in the method, you can throw an IO exception, particularly useful for when you read in files and or use scanners uh, for the purposes of this class. And then you can just put that so that people know what's going on.
Yeah. And the cool
And
thing
then
about Javadoc is that like it creates it's an API that creates like an HTML document out of like the documentation that you write, which is pretty cool. And it's usually you
Oh
don't
yeah,
yeah, and it's usually just built in to like the JDK that you download.
yeah. Java is one of the languages which has the most document dense.
Hmm.
It's one of the most document dense languages. The Oracle docs on Java are very descriptive, so
Hmm.
you can check those out as well. And then there's the homework.
Yeah, we can probably like just demonstrate or like give more examples of classes, methods, etc.,
Um,
inheritance.
I think
What was that,
I
Ashwin?
think for documentation, yeah, go back to that slide. Okay, I think the most important part of documentation is that like at param or at return or at throws, like you need to you need to specifically specify like what the function that you're describing returns takes in and the exception like the error it throws if you don't do something
Hmm.
correctly. So like for parameters, if you're like confused on what will count as one, it would be what's inside the parentheses in the function header. Like
Yeah.
for the find roadrunner, it'd be city and state that
Hmm.
you describe like what necessarily is a city in this case.
Yeah,
In
and you
this case,
notice
it'd
how
be city for your roadrunner. Yeah,
yeah, and it's like you notice how there's the at param annotation for both of the parameters, not just one for all of them. And then you have an annotation for the return statement and the exception that you throw. So yeah,
yeah. For at return, you should also probably specify
the
what
type.
type it
Yeah,
returns.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So it should say like
Hmm.
at returns the coordinates of the roadrunner in your area as a string. This one does not, but it's all right.
Yeah. Yeah, and this like this screenshot isn't like a completely cohesive list. It's more so just like some examples. Yeah, the link in the slide just shows uh, all of the different annotations that you can use to make your documentation in
Yeah.
Java Docs.
Yeah, but those three in the picture are like the ones you
Yeah,
use most often. The other
yeah,
ones are
sure.
kind of obscure.
I don't, sure. I don't know about obscure, but
Yeah, we can go to VS Code and do some examples.
yeah. So we can do that.
Um, now what
Okay,
is
so we can make like a class like um I don't know. Let's write a class just from like the start, just to see how you would go about writing one. So we can
okay?
do class, yeah, public class. Is it class lowercase? Yeah, student.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Mhm.
So public class student, and then here, Rithwick is writing what we called a field
Yeah, or
or
the
the
instance
list of
variables.
instance variables. Yeah, so we'll take an array of courses, an age, the
And
name,
name. Yeah. And remember,
and a
yeah.
double for GPA.
And remember,
Yeah,
uh, you want to, make your fields or your instance variables private, so no other classes can
yeah, that's
access them.
always important.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So here now, Rithwik is writing what we call the constructor. So the constructor is just public student, same name as the class. It has to be the same name as the class. And then you take in essentially all, well, not necessarily, but in this case, we'll be taking in all the instance
Yeah.
variables.
Like
So this
base.
is where the user can define what age
Hmm.
courses and homeroom teacher are, and then to add them to the instance variables in the field, we just do this dot age equals age. Um,
And notice
yeah,
how he uses the this keyword in the constructor to refer to the
yeah.
current object.
This basically specifies that it's the age that the
Mhm.
user puts in instead of whatever might be in the field, which right now is empty.
Yeah, but
And then right here
yeah.
we have the methods associated with student. You know, we have a for loop, yeah. Nice. Nice.
For in general for each loops, if this is plural, you want to make this singular form of this for
Hmm.
so it's easier to
Readability.
read.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and this is also a very bad variable name too.
Yeah, you always want to be intentional about like making your variable
Yeah.
names descriptive about like what they do.
Okay. Yeah.
Um. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Then we return. And then we can
So
return.
and we will talk more about like public and private tomorrow. I I think
Oh, also we should talk about two-string methods. Uh,
yeah.
the two-string method overrides the two-string method naturally returns. I'll show you what it naturally returns later. It's just gonna return a memory location, and then here we can create a custom two-string method. And generally, this is good practice to do so along with the hash code method, but we won't worry about that for now. We can just return. We can return. Let's see. Return the homeroom.
Yeah, so every object or class that you make in JavaScript has a built-in toString function, but you can redefine what this toString function does by doing at override. Because think about it, toString it is from the object class in Java, which is like a built-in part of Java, like a built-in class. So every single class that you can write in Java extends object. It just and that happens behind the scenes. So every object in Java has a built-in toString function, which is part of that object class. Yeah.
Okay. Let's go to CCA. Let's for now let's create this together.
Yeah. So to create an object, we
And
get
let's say
student, and what you can put in when you write new student is all those parameters
I don't know if you
that
can
you
do it.
listed out in the constructor. So that's what the constructor is for. It's to like define what variables
No,
that
it's
the
Oh,
user
do
can
you have to?
specify and
Okay.
oh,
You have to
I don't think.
go to clickbait.
I was trying to be
instantiate
I
it.
was trying to be sneaky.
Are you
Whatever.
like
Let's just do
instant?
it
Do you just
properly.
want to instantiate it inside of the constructor?
Yeah.
Yeah, just do that.
Yeah. I don't think you can. I was trying to be sneaky there. Uh, we can just say, okay, now you can use this out. Oh no, so it's the best. And then we can print. So here it says homeroom teacher is me, and then it says age 17. Okay, and here you can see that I didn't specifically say that s.toString. It's not necessary, you can do it, but the dot toString, if it's inside a print ln or any print method, is implied. So yeah, and then let's go back. Let's try and remove this. Uh, okay, let's do that. And let's come back and let's see what happens. So here you can see that if you don't have a custom toString method, it's just going to return the memory location, which is 3FE, whatever, that's going to be relevant. But yeah, not that. Okay, and then we can create a subclass. Oh, we have to go. Let's use this grad student. Student. Let's just say here. Let's say. Oh, here. Let's show us. Let's show you how to refactor. We can just. Oh, I don't know how to do it on in this. But let's rename symbol. So we're just gonna say change this to primary teacher because colleges don't have homeroom teacher, and we're looking at graduated students, grad students. So let's do that, and then let's go back to the class grad student, and then we can just let's just do this. Let's say that, and let's say super age. Yes, not homeroom. It didn't change it. This because it's not actually a symbol. It wasn't a symbol. Let's go back and then I can just do this. Um, yeah, I don't know what else to do with this. Oh, we can say, oh no, let's do a boolean. Okay, let's see if the grad student has an internship, and then we can here we can add an additional thing. So boolean has internship, and then we can say has internship. This stuff has internship equals has internship. So we can see if it has an internship or not. Um, let's go back. And then here we can create a new grad student. And their age is probably like 23. Just keep their courses. And then we can also create, we can say that they do have an internship, and we can print, oh, you have to change the print method. Let's override, not the print method, to string. And then we can just return as internship. So yeah, we do have an internship. So I think that's that.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. So we're at 5:57.
Yeah.
So okay, Janae and Aries, any questions?
About homework, just any concepts we've learned, etc.
Okay, Janae wants to speak.
Okay, can you?
I just want to. Okay. I just want to Janae. The whole track. Are we gonna get to know how we're doing? Janae, your audio is actually
Yeah,
bad.
yeah. I can't hear anything. It's too soft.
So Janae wants to know about homework checks. So Rithwick will be checking the
I'll grade
homework.
them today.
Yeah, yeah. He'll. We promise he'll be lenient.
Yeah, I'll post the homework as always, and we'll post videos.
Okay, bye then.
Okay.